dreamer? It is said that to best enjoy the light, you must first explore the heart and soul of the darkness. We are the artists who create in the shadows, whose dreams are designed to become your reality. I'm Stanley Weotter. Welcome to my world of the dark fantastic. Welcome to the world of dark dreamers. Are you a dark dreamer? Wes Craven undoubtedly is. The writer and director of some of the most frightening films ever made, Wes Craven is internationally recognized as one of the greatest dark dreamers of our time. Beginning in 1972 with the shocker Last House on the Left, which was produced by his colleague, Sean Cunningham, Craven has since gone on to direct a long string of both popular and critically acclaimed motion pictures. Among his best known is a series that began in 1984 with A Nightmare on Elm Street. It became a pop culture phenomenon and spawned no less than 6 sequels and a television series. If that weren't enough, for the Christmas holiday season of 1996, Craven treated us to Scream. This also became a smash hit and generated 2 successful sequels. Wes recently invited us to his office in Los Angeles, where we discussed the life and career of one of our most accomplished dark dreamers. Do you think part of the respect that the genre now has is because people are finally realizing that fact that there is that need for horror entertainment, as David J. Scal, the critic, calls it, as a good part of our lives?
I don't know. You know, frankly, I have not felt that yet. I think I've felt a respect that they are economically very viable, and that they can be sold to a broader audience. But all you need to look at is like the opening of Scream being shown in Congress as an example of how despicable and irresponsible films are, to realize that they're not out of the woods at all insofar as public opinion goes, certainly not the opinion of policymakers. John McCain hates what I do. I'm sure he thinks it's un-American. And I've been being called that. Somebody called Last House on the Left the most subversive film he'd ever seen, you know, and was clearly anti-American. So I don't know. And you know, Columbine, the first thing they hit was horror films. You know, it's like whatever opportunity they can to get a suggestion that these films are truly detrimental and undermining to the American way of life, they will take it and try to squelch them. And right now is not a good time for making horror films. Dimension Films has swung around to making children's films or remakes of classics. You know, so they are always live rounds. You know, and I think a lot of people are still profoundly uncomfortable with them and will readily say that they are irresponsible and that films are for entertainment, and that means giving people pleasant feelings, or it seems to be the implication is take them away from reality, take them away from thinking about what's unpleasant, and make them feel good about life, whatever. And there are times when, believe me, lately I've sat down with a silly film, you know. But that makes perfect sense to me. If the reality that I do films about is clear and present in reality, then you don't need to make a film about it. It's when people are like going along like those things don't exist is when those films are doing their function.
And we had the recent horrible tragedy in New York, and one of the reactions that the film and television industry had was to immediately put aside or put on the shelf films that might remind the audience of either the World Trade Center or terrorism in general. Do you think this is the right thing to do or an improper thing to do in terms of trying to, like, well, we have terrorism in real life, we better not talk about it in fiction for a while?
It's a delicate matter. You know, I think I've often referred to horror films as an inoculation against true horror. If a patient has a disease, you know, they're in the middle of a raging fever and fighting for your life, you're not going to inoculate them with more of the disease, you know. So I can understand that. I don't think it should be done officially. I think unofficially it will be done. People probably aren't going to see Towering Inferno right now, you know, at the video store. But if they need to in some way, if they need to somehow, for whatever mysterious psychological reasons, need to watch it in a way that is resolved rather than so open-endedly, confusingly, bafflingly, horribly unsolvable as it feels right now, they should be able to do that, you know. But I understand the impulse. It was so uncanny, I think, to everybody, including filmmakers, how close it was, in a way, to the cinematic visions of the last 10 years. And I got to tell you, beyond making money in the film business, beyond all that stuff, there are perceptions that people who make films and write scripts have about potentials that wake you up in the middle of the night, and you make a script about that. And I swear to God, there is a part of you that says, I hope they see this and figure out how to make that impossible, you know. Ironically, they didn't. I mean, my novel Found Society ends with some guy crashing an airplane into the project in order to bring it to an end. I mean, why the hell, some general said, you know, when asked, why didn't you have some system of protection of protecting the Pentagon? He said, well, it never occurred to us somebody would fly a plane into it. Well, duh, you know? I mean, it's not like poor lowly little horror films haven't suggested a lot of these things. So, you know, my old phrase of making movies that are scenarios for the apocalypse or boot camp for the psyche, I mean, that was my vision, that was my hunch, and I wish I had been wrong, but I wasn't.